in his butt, which means there might be a goat up there on him, but he's too far up there for me to get up there. I'm way down here. Keep my eyes open. Sometimes you can find these trolls hanging out in these little cave-like areas, like in here in Crete. Of course, there's any spiders and they're caught in there and you get them out, that's a boon, big boon. So I've come here to the Imbros Gorge in Crete. As I heard from reliable sources that trolls abound here. And they like to hang with goats, and there's a lot of goats here. And also, it's just the kind of spot that they would like to be. Now, I've found what appears to be a troll house. Now, I know it looks like a regular burrow, but trolls made that, see? Now, you can see the rock face right there. They piled up those rocks so that they could have some privacy. But inside of there is probably a troll. And look, can you see that? There's like, I can't really see it in this light, but there's a little bit of pole of a little bit of troll effluent, I guess is what I call it. Right there and right there. But yeah, they're around here. You just have to keep looking. See, what a lot of people don't realize here in this gorge is that the goats and the trolls have this symbiotic relationship. Trolls will hitch a ride on goats, and while they're riding on them, they'll comb through their hair or coat looking for ticks and fleas. Trolls love, especially Cretan cuisine for trolls. Can't get any better than a flea or a tick. In a couple of days, Leslie and I are sailing to Rhodes, the island of Rhodes, on this vessel. We feel pretty safe because there's always that little dinghy with the outboard on it if things get out of hand. So, in about 1200 BC, this was a tomb that was dug out and where families were buried. Down there is the crypt. Of course, everything's out of there now. another one. There's what's left of the door that was in front of it. There's another one. There's about, I don't know. I think it said there was 17 or 18 of these things around here. Mycenaean. So these things are dug out with bronze tools. If you look real closely on the sides, you can see the marks where they use the tools. See right there? Kept supposedly throwing bones in there. There's no bones in there now. But there was, till they took them all out. Back in that corner. Yeah. Let's see, this is 1200 BC, so this grave's 3,000 years old. I don't know, my math's not that good. Got finding them because they hadn't been robbed. Well, they weren't looted until 1970 when they discovered them, and then they started looting them. Yeah. Do you call it looting when graves are that old? I don't know. This is a 3,400-year-old crypt in Crete. And some rich Cretan had it built for his family. Got benches all around. Whatever was in here, they've removed, which apparently was a bunch of bones and some funerary objects. And that's how I got in here, through that passageway. So I'm gonna get out too. How cool is this? This is Gorin. So this was a city, community in Crete, Minoan. It's part of the, they call it a road, but it looked like it's just a little alleyway to me, but I guess they didn't have cars going down them. Looking at something that's pretty old. Foundations, not anything left. Oh, my goodness. These houses, you didn't need much space. Of course, they didn't have all the stuff we have to put in to our houses nowadays, I guess. We have a lot of stuff to put in our houses. Oh, here's something that might be interesting. A stone that's a sacred stone, so it says. Let's see. This upright unworked stone slab, which is deliberately set into the pavement of the street, has been interpreted as a sacred stone. Immediately to the east, so that a kernos sits at the base of the palace wall. 4 meters further to the east, a block in the south wall of the palace was inscribed with a double axe sign. Minion seals depict such objects and worshippers kneeling before them. Similar stones at Malia, Basiliki, and Philokopi on Melos may also be Badals. As in the Near East, these objects may be aniconic representations of deities. Well, to the east. Okay, down this little road at the entrance to a big house, which they call a palace, is this unworked stone that's set upright in the road. And it's considered a sacred stone. I don't know how they figured that out, but there is something that is, it's called a betyls, B-A-E-T-Y-L-S. Anyway, just to its right, about 1 meter away, next to this big rock, sits a kernos. And this is where offerings would be put, in those little dimples. They worked that. That's not. And then around this corner is a double axe sign inscribed into this big block. Let's see if you can see that double axe. That's right there. Of course, a lot of it's worn away in 3,000 or 4,000 years, but it's still there. Unless somebody just did that just to fool me. I wonder. Now, what do you suppose they use that for? Just so you get an idea how big that is. You see my hand? That is a polished round something. But there's nothing here to say what it was used for. So, yeah, what do you think it was used for? Anybody got any idea? So what you're looking at is a 3,500-year-old place where they made wine. And what they would do is they would put a big clay pot on top of that shelf and then stomp them. And the pot had a hole in the bottom, and then they put a jar in that hole that filled up with the juice. So right here, they used to make wine. like 3,500 years ago. That's a long time ago. They know this because they found the clay pot up there when they were digging around here. This is Mulatto's Cave, where there was a horrible massacre in 1821, and they built a church back in this cave. Back there, where you see that little triangular box, it's full of human bones of the people who were massacred. That cave goes way back in there, because there was well over 2,000 people who were trying to hide from the Turks here. This time of year in Crete, they are harvesting all the olives. So they put these big green nets out, and then I don't know if you can see it, but right there is a little red pole, and it's electric, and it's got these. Oh, there's one right there. Even better shot. Yeah, see that? Yeah, they use that to knock them off. Then they collect them on these big green things, and then they put them in bags, and they take them to market. This is Scotino's Cave, where Minoan people came to pray to their god, which was a woman, Gaia. So you're looking at ancient altars. Pretty sacred spot. There's Leslie down there. Pretty big church. You hear pigeons in the background. This is like a huge altar. Crazy beautiful. You just get no sense of how gorgeous it is with this little stupid phone. Rivals any man-made church I've ever seen. So there's like the first altar, I would call it. And there's Leslie way in the background. There's the second one. And there's this massive thing right here. It's incredible. Just oh shit, he gets to move here.
Oh God. I guess go up in there, Ted.
Yeah, I will. Are you going here?
No, we're gonna go in there. There.
I don't know how he's gonna get around that corner.
Proceed to the route. See?
Sorry. Glad we didn't meet him on that corner.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
In half a mile, keep left.
Whoa.
Driving in Crete. Loving it.
That good?